Good evening. How are you, my LinkedIn family? We are back again for another exciting episode of Cinnamon Chat. Cinnamon Chat with Amita, Sri Lanka's one and only LinkedIn live talk show. At this moment, we are also streaming live to Facebook as well as to YouTube. So if you go to my personal profile, that is Amita Gamage on LinkedIn or on Facebook or YouTube, you can join with us. So let me introduce myself for those who are joining new. I'm an executive coach. I love coaching CEOs and I meet a lot of them all the time. And I also help individuals build their personal brand. So I'm a personal branding strategist, and I also help organizations, especially B2B sales organizations, improve their sales performance by working with their sales teams. So those are the things that I do. Of course, I work very closely with my 11-year-old son. He's a kidpreneur, he's a youngpreneur. He's also running a talk show called Cinnamon Chat with Nethila. You can go to YouTube and find, and soon he will be running his show on LinkedIn as well. So, those are some of the things about me and my work. So, let's talk about this particular show. Why Cinnamon Chat Show? This is to help my network. I have 14,000 plus LinkedIn connections. I have 5,000 plus Facebook friends. And then, of course, on my Facebook page, around another 2,000 plus. And, few on my YouTube channel. So I thought they have been helping me to grow. Why don't I help them? Then I was thinking, how do I help them? And there are many ways to do it. And one way is to bring some experts whom I know, whom I have met in some way, who could add some value. So we have had 3 episodes, and this is the fourth episode. What are we going to talk about today? Now, one of the things that we hear these days is hiring, or sometimes even firing for that matter. The pandemic has brought new challenges to the HR department. Doesn't matter, it's only for large organization. It could be even a small organization or a medium-sized organization. It could be even a solopreneur where he or she wanted to recruit one person, but then now it's a challenge. Maintaining a large network, large pool of employees is a challenge these days because markets are closed, areas are closed. You open, lockdown, then you allow people to travel, and then suddenly there are restrictions. So it's somewhat challenging. Everybody's job is challenging, but then, as I always say, the worst thing that you could do is not doing anything. I repeat, the worst thing you could do is not doing anything. So I'm doing my part to add value, create momentum. So I invite you to go and do your part. So whom do we have today? I Last week I brought an expert who knows about export marketing, food export marketing, retail, and today I have someone who is trying to change the hiring landscape, talent acquisition landscape. Someone who has gone through a lot, someone who could share a lot with us. So let me bring our friend Imtiaz. He's the CEO and co-founder of Six Video. Imtiaz, good evening and
Hi,
welcome to the show. You have
good
to say
evening.
something to the audience.
Okay, great. Hi, everyone. Very good evening for everyone. And thanks, Amita. Thanks for having me on this episode of Cinnamon Chat. Of course,
Imtiaz,
Amita
let
said,
me
yeah,
yeah, let me put it this way. Now,
okay,
probably the first question is about a basic introduction about yourself. Maybe
sure.
just just before you started the company, up to that point.
Okay. So, just before I started the company, I studied at DSN America. So I'm JSNI College in Colombo. So I'm a commerce guy. So obviously, and I did a lot of traveling during my time, right? So I've been to countries which are super rich, and I've been to countries which are super poor because my dad is from the apparel industry. So he used
Okay.
to be on both sides, right? So for me in my early childhood, it was Saturdays and Sundays, it was the production flow, it was the factories, it was all about people, 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 right? So that's how usually that I spend my days with my dad and everything like that. So moving forward, like I did my BScs in University of Wales. It was from a local university in Sri Lanka. And as soon as I graduated, even before 3 months I graduated, I was packed and sent to Bangladesh because my dad went there and started a factory. So it was a culture shock for me because it's completely a different atmosphere, different countries, and everything like that. But it was a good experience for me because I understood some of the things, and I never thought, Amita, that in my entire life I would take my business there and actually get clients, right? So back in when I came back to Sri Lanka after just doing some internships in apparel, and I joined a strategy consulting company, and I worked for a year and a half, and I was able to work with different banks, different companies. That was not one job; it was like a whole different level of jobs, like banking sector, retail, you name it. Everything I was doing it at that time. So out of the blue, after 1.5 years of working there, I met my now co-founder Sam. He's in Australia, and he said, "Hey, Imtiaz, I have this platform. Do you want to take it up and do it?" Uh, Truly, honestly, right now, I can't say why I left. Just 10 days after talking with Sam, I gave my resignation letter and I left in a month. Until now, I can't say, I definitely can't say why I left. If you say, okay, this, what's the reason? Was it passion? Was it the product that you saw? I don't know. I just left, right? So there's no reason for that. So that's the story until I started the company.
Okay. Uh, we all have maybe those confused moments. Really don't know why we did something. Yeah, and then so you wanted to start a company, and then at that time maybe we could call it a startup, even though it is not a startup
Yeah.
anymore. By the
Mhm.
way, Imtiaz, we have a comment from Dhananjay who says audio is repeating. I hope you don't have any speakers on at that in your location. No.
No,
No,
no, nothing
so
like that.
yeah, so let's say hi to few people who used to come and encourage us.
Sure.
Manjula always come here, and then Nayana Priya. Hi, Nayana Priya. Hi, Sudat. And okay, hi, Marriott. You always come here. Sangeet. Hi, good evening. You have to engage with them. Huh?
Yeah,
Encourage them
definitely.
to come to the next show also.
Yeah,
Hi,
sure.
Dhananjay. Thank you, Janaka. Thank you for coming. And Muzab, hi.
Yeah, hey, what's up? Thanks, man.
So, why? I want to ask you, how did you get into this particular business? Why HR? Why tech? Why interviews? A little bit.
So for first to start with, Amit, I just want to be very, very clear. I'm not from a tech background, right?
Oh,
Whatever I learned throughout the 3 years of 4 years actually of doing this, is that I learned tech, right? So basically, the first day when I came, this was in Sam's place down Dickman's Road. It was downstairs his house. This was just a portion that he couldn't find anyone to give out for rent, so he just made office there. So when I went there, first thing then only I had started to realize, hey, Facebook is app, LinkedIn is app.
okay.
How is it made, right? So that question I asked the first day I came. Don't forget, Amita, I left a well-paying job, by the way, right?
Yeah, I know.
To do this, right? So, anyways, getting back to how I started and how I got into this is that. the company that I worked with previously, they had like a ideathon, like a place like where you can come and pitch your ideas and they connect you with investors. So it was me and my friend who was leading it, right? So I saw day in and day out. This was a 3 day program. I was there for about 2 days. My boss said to stay away from the third day because I was asking more questions from the people who are pitching and the more questions from the investors. So he said to me, keep away, Imtiaz, on the third day. So when I went there, I understood that, man, these guys are trying to do something, right? So this was, by the way, way before this ecosystem was created. I think there was only 2 or 3 startups that only think one or two only has been funded. So this was very early. So and these people, the investors who came are well-known people in the business industry in Sri Lanka. So they came and asked questions, these guys. So it inspired me, okay, how do I do this? How do I come up with my idea, right? So when the moment I said this to my parents, the number one question they asked me was, okay, a business, okay, you want to start a grocery shop, right? So because business, if someone says if it's a business, that's where their head goes. Okay, it's a grocery shop, it's a hardware store shop, it's kind of like that. Then I was also really thinking, should I open a shop, right? Is that entrepreneurial, right? So what I did was I read a lot of books, started reading, doing my research, and they said, okay, go behind a personal problem, right? The better problem is where you have felt the problem and you think you have a solution for it.
Yeah.
So what I did was I went back to my experience of finding my job, right? So back in uni, I was so much into CEOs, Business Today magazines, and everything. And then I thought, okay, these are the top 15 companies that I should apply to. And
Okay.
I started applying. I started applying for a month. No one called me, right? Started by a second month. No one called me. Did that for about 7, 8 months. Only one company called me who hired me afterwards, a smaller company.
Okay.
So I asked myself the question, why? Why didn't I get hired, right? By the way, I can show you the later on the CV. My CV sucks, right? Because it's 2 pages. I have not done any work experience. I have put my entire exam sheet on. And I don't understand why I did that. Maybe I wanted to impress. Hey, this guy's got an A for this. You should hire him. Like, I thought maybe like that. So I did have that knowledge. Now, like, people are doing CV workshops for kids and those kind of things. So what happened was I went through that. So I thought to myself, hey, okay, my CV didn't impress anyone. But if I can pitch it with a short video clip, right?
Yeah.
Recorded, shared with the HR manager. There I started building. I was well known that there were competitors out there in the other markets, but I asked myself the question, why isn't it there in Sri Lanka and why isn't it predominantly being used in Asia? So I went ahead, I made the sketch, I met Sam. Sam said, hey, Imtiaz, there's this site called 6.lk, which is a job site, which has been sitting on for a long time. And I took it over. And while I'm doing it, I met these great developers. One of those guys is still with me. Chatu, if you're watching this, I don't know why you're still sticking with me after all these years. So thanks. So he and his team, still we are friends. Like we were buddies. We talked. I understood tech. Then I understood languages. I understood all of these things. And slowly, step by step, I was making it. So the first year of my business, I didn't know what I was doing. Should I be a job board or should I be this and that? Then coincidentally, I became a talent agency, right? Which my friends tried to call me. Okay, this is the agency guy. So even my parents were thinking, are you sending people abroad and taking a commission? So, okay, that's not how it works, right? Still, by the way, they're still confused, right? They're still
Yeah.
confused of what I do. They don't understand much, but they always think, okay, so this guy is doing something. There's results coming out of it. So for about 6 months, I was doing a talent agency. We were doing good business. We had some good clients. Some of the clients have been turned into this, but it became very boring for me, and it was a very it takes some time. A lot of people do it. It was only me who is doing it. Then only we created this app. You wouldn't believe, Amita, I think I can say this. First app version, first candidate uploaded, crashed.
Okay.
And I asked my developers, why is it happening? They was like, dude, I don't know, right? Because they were also new. I was also new. They were not professionals to use tools. So fast track 4 years back, here we are, funded, worked with 18 clients, worked with 2 countries,
Wow.
and we are. I I think I don't want to brag about it. Some of the companies who rejected me, one of the top 15 companies who rejected me uh, last time when I put into an interview, coincidentally became my clients, right? And
Yeah. So
whenever I
I'm
still
gonna,
meet them,
I'm gonna,
yeah,
in this, I'm gonna crash in there. So
yeah,
now, uh, how did you convince people
mm-hmm,
before the pandemic that your
mm-hmm,
solution, like that your solution can help HR managers, recruitment managers to interview people using video tech? How did you convince? We were unable to even run a classroom online
mm-hmm,
before the
mm-hmm.
pandemic, before March. So, what was your unique selling proposition at that time?
So at that time, Amita, it was the trend of people using WhatsApp videos, right?
Oh,
I think there were around 10 internship and management training campaigns that companies were doing through WhatsApp,
okay,
right?
okay.
Um, so we started targeting them, right? And the first company that who is still our client that we work with, we came at a good time because their CEO and the director has requested, look, I need a face in this CV. I need to know whether they can communicate. I know we need to know, okay, can these guys properly communicate with teams, with them, or with their clients, right? So my first client, this was luck. When I went there, they were saying, okay, Imtiaz, we were in a discussion on what to do with this, right? Because WhatsApp posts a lot of threads, right? So you send a video, it can be shared, it can be forwarded. You don't know who are you sending it to. Those kind of issues were there. So when I went there, yes, there was a lot of things. Like, there were some companies who said, we get candidates, so we don't want this. So it was different mindset. Some people said to me, like, hey, Imtiaz, we are not hiring that much. We don't need this. That was another thing. And the other thing was like, we get plenty of candidates. That's fine. And the third most ironic thing was that if we have people to handle interviews, so we don't want to take the service, right? So those are some of the three challenges that we faced. So we started hitting companies that were mid, like on mid level. Like, okay, they were growing, they were well known, or like, software companies, IT companies who were there 20, 30 team members, which only had one HR manager handling everything. They didn't have the budget to go furthermore. Then it's about convincing, right? Okay, we got the client. What are we going to do? Is that guy going to stay, right? How are we going to turn into a monthly customer into an annual customer? So those kind of
Yeah.
challenges were
So,
there.
Imtiaz, I mean, you have come to the right point. I think I'm gonna
Mm,
pose you two questions at that point.
sure.
I have two
Mm,
loaded questions for you. Number one,
okay.
pandemic or not, what
Mhm.
are the challenges faced by hiring managers, HR
Mm,
departments, based on your association of number of organizations, multinationals to locals to foreign to small to medium? You have been associating. I'm sure they have been telling you this is our problem, these are our problems. So for our
mm,
audience to know something about what the hiring department is going through, they are doing a great job, but sometimes they are never been appreciated. You get into LinkedIn, you will find thousands of posts criticizing hiring managers. What are the
yeah.
challenges? That's the first question. My second question would
Mm,
be after that, but of course, the challenges faced by the candidates. Right. So let's not talk about your solution. This is general.
okay. Sure. Got it. So with hiring managers, Amita, usually the issue is they now, as example, now this is how it works, right? In Sri Lanka, you post anywhere for any job, right?
Yeah.
Your average number of CVs is going to be around 20 to 50 CVs. That is given, right? So let's say it's a much more lucrative job. Let's say management training interns, there's so much of access to university students. It's in
Yeah.
hundreds, right? And take a very well established company, right? You get in hundreds, in 200s, in 300s, right? And there are certain companies in Sri Lanka who hire 5-member intern teams, right? Just to sit through CVs, look at them, what are they doing, what are the points and everything. So they are trying to make sure that they don't miss anyone in the process, right? But the question that came up is that, okay, are we spending the right time on the right people? Now, this is an issue because even for a CEO
Imtiaz,
position, yeah,
Give me a second. Kavinda
sure,
says, did the video drop? I'm seeing a timer now. No, I'm sure Kavinda would have joined later. So he's the
yeah,
beginning of the video because he has joined late.
right.
No problem.
Yeah, he can skip, right?
Yeah. Never
He
mind.
can
Let
skip.
him slowly enjoy. I'm so sorry.
Okay,
Go ahead.
that's fine, that's fine. So so yeah, so the time saved, right? So now we are talking in terms of the pandemic, right? Okay, so now you somehow you shortlist 100 people into 50, right? Now this is before the pandemic I'm talking about. You call 20 people to come for an interview. Guaranteed only 10 people are going to turn up, right? 50%, 20% of that will only turn up.
Yes.
Then they'll either call and say, look, I want to reschedule, I have this issue, that issue. Can be genuine. There are genuine things. Or else, like, if the candidate also has 2 or 3 other interviews, he would pick the best brand, right? That is very unfair for smaller companies. But now the situation is completely changed, though, after the pandemic. And also, the process is also very tiring. Some companies have 8, 7, that kind of number of interviews. And also, the time taken is another big issue, because now, as example, you call them for a first interview. I say, okay, like, this guy is great, let's take him in. This guy is great, this guy fits all the things that we are looking for. But you want HR managers have another big issue. They always want to show their superiors, this is the guy, do you want to work with him or not? Please do let me know, right? That's how emails go up and forward, right? Because I have worked in a talent agency, so I know what kind of emails these guys send. So the manager says, Machang, here, I'm very busy this week. Shall I put it next week? And he says, okay, Wednesday, let's put it. And then what happens is, by Wednesday, you call that candidate. He'll be saying, like, sorry, I got another job. Then you lost that. Then you have lost that entire week worth of work because there was a meeting, right? So you can't tell the your manager to, like, you're going to lose candidates, you better come and do something about it. You can't tell that to that guy. He's like, okay, I have to earn millions to the company, or I'm fired, I have to search a job, right? So that comes to that. So that is one of the key issues before the pandemic the company faced. Number one, sitting and going through CVs, right? Which, don't forget, Amitabh, you right now can pay 100 rupees and get a good CV done.
Yeah.
That is also there. So
Yeah.
are you that person is the question, right? Question number one. This was there even before, when, like, I've seen, like, some companies a lot, like, have this, make your CV for 5,000, 6,000, seven
Yeah.
thousand, like that. So no, it's good to compress your information, but hiring managers should understand is that, okay, if the CV is like this, so I was in uni, right? I used to ask my friend, Machan, can you send me your CV? I'll edit it and I'll change my name and put it. So obviously the hiring manager is going to get 15 different CVs which are the same, and he'll be like, who the hell are these guys, right? So because of that, number one, CVs. Number two is that the interview scheduling, right?
Yeah.
So that is another issue. And number three is, like, getting these people to actually come to an interview was a big problem, right? Now that is not there because of the pandemic, your social distancing and all of those things. So hiring managers before the pandemic, these kind of issues were there. So the candidate, for the candidate, it's all about experience, right? Because now, let's say IT company A, IT company B, IT company C was there, right? Um, you don't see one business analyst job now. Never ever you're going to see one business analyst job. You're going to see 15 business analyst jobs in only one day. I want that. I'm working in this company. This company. Of course, a guy who's looking to persuade that industry, he will apply to all 15 of those adverts. Guess what's the
Yeah.
company that he will pick? Is the best place where he gets the candidate experience, easy to apply, right? There were some companies you had to create an account, you had to go in, put up your profile, put up your, and like, you have to copy paste the same thing that was on the CV onto a profile, right? Now, those kind of things are user related things, right? So, candidate experience was very, very uh, important for them. And also, number two is much more companies that have budgets do a lot of brand employer branding, right?
Yeah.
I remember when I was in uni, it was only two guys, but now I saw, like, they're advertising, we have this company, after you're done with the graduation you can go and work there, right? So I wish I could have joined them. So when that happened, people thought, okay, right, I join this, I can join these companies, which is not, right? So if 10 people get, if you are unluckily the 11th person who is not getting picked, you're losing all your, you're losing your morale, and you just have to take a smaller job, and after 5 years of working you can go back to that same company. So expectations of candidates also has to be checked. There are a lot of job titles which says we are giving this, we are giving that, there, this and that. You go there, there's nothing. So expectations, you have to always keep it, how do I say it, normal with the candidate. So basically, those are some of the things from the candidate side. They want a very good candidate experience. They want to see, okay, in this job, what am I going to get? Then I think third only is the payments. The payments and everything. Like, I tried to hire someone, and he blandly came and told me, "Yes, I work like, but this company is paying me this much. Why are you paying me low?" Right, kind of thing like that. He asked me, right?
Yeah.
So no need about the labor market is salary wise is fine. So basically, the experience and the expectations of candidates has to be looked into from the
Yeah.
candidate's perspective.
Okay. Okay. Uh, and then, uh, okay, people are saying good things about you also. I work for a company, and then he says he hired a graphic designer from Imtiaz platform. She's good at what she does. I think this is a good method.
Thanks, Ruksha.
Okay. Thank you very much. Yeah. So there are a few people who have come here. Let's say hi to them also. Mohammed, and then okay, Kavinder, we saw him. Lasit, thank you very much, Lasit, joining the show. Now, I want to talk about your solution here now. Now, you
Hmm.
explained just few key challenges faced by the hiring managers and few key challenges faced by the candidates. Now, how is your solution going to help the the parties involved? I mean, we are looking at two sides. Can you give a brief about what your solution is? Because I'm sure there are a lot of hiring managers who have confirmed who would attend the live show, failing which they will come and watch it later. So we need a very clear, concise
Sure.
explanation of your solution.
Okay. So the solution is it's based around interviews. So basically, Sixer Video is a platform that allows you to pre-screen or video screen potential candidates before they walk in for an interview, right? So basically, let's say I'm looking for an intern, right? So we are not a job board, just to keep it straight over there, is where you can integrate our link into your job advert or your careers page or on LinkedIn, where when they click on apply, they have to enter a specific code, enter their details, and you can ask them the questions that you want to ask them, right? So this can be as simple as tell us about yourself, or it can be very scenario based as well. You are hiring a sales manager, you can ask, okay, this is the product, can you please pitch it to me, right? And the best part is you can time this pre-recording as well. So as example, I say, hey Amita, like, I'm going to interview you, right? This is the question. I'm only giving you 2 minutes. You have to answer it, right?
Wait,
So
Imtiaz.
you can
Now,
even,
give me a
yeah,
second. Imtiaz. Now,
sure.
this also tells me something else. Now, imagine
Mm,
most of the time in the first interview, the
mm,
hiring manager, probably the HR department will tell you, tell me about yourself. And now,
yes,
hiring manager is happy about you, and you have been put into the second interview, probably into the business division that he would be working,
yes,
right? And that manager also will start the most probably. I myself had been hiring a lot of people being in the corporate for a long time. And then the question that you would ask is, tell me about yourself. Right? If you search Google, you will find so many answers how to answer
true.
tell me about yourself question. Then you have been kind of chosen and you have been now put it to your CEO, general manager, someone in high authority. You know the first question they ask, whether you like it or not, tell me about yourself. So sometimes we waste too much of time asking, tell
Exactly.
me about yourself. So I understand, how your solution could help. So you mean to say it will straight away come to the point. Okay, you are hiring somebody for sales, and you might ask, okay, we are in the business of selling, let's say, textured vegetable protein, TVP, right? How would you speak to a mudalali when you go to a shop? And we will give you two
Mm.
minutes, and he just have to record it and upload it to the, I mean, how does he do it? He has to use the same system, or he has to go to a studio, get his recording done and come, or what?
So nothing like that, Amit. What you can do is even like when, like just like we are having this conversation, right? You can
Yeah.
wear a coat, you can wear a shirt, and you can, just hold your phone like this and just take it, right? Or else, like if you want a very steady one, just go on your desktop. We have a laptop and a desktop version as well. Go like this, record it, and put it up. You wouldn't believe that like we have people. We did this small case study a while back, right? So we told the person you upload a video and you come for the first interview as well. This was just a test scenario video. So this guy who came was okay, really nicely combed his hair. He has a tie, great watch. Guy is like, okay, you have to take him. He's like that. Like you don't need to talk with him also. So we told him, Masang, you put this video up as well. You couldn't believe like this guy was hair was everywhere, wearing a Superman T-shirt. He was pitching. That's who he
Okay.
is, right? That's who he
Yeah.
is. So that's what, yeah, that's who he is. So we have people who wear a T-shirt, puts the coat, and says, "Okay, this is who I am. Go and get it. This is who I am." Those are the people that you should have the conversation with. And
Yeah.
getting back to your question, like the Mudalalis, you can talk with the Mudalalis. So this is where our apps language integration comes in, right? So the Mudalalis are not going to be like Harvard or Yale English guys, right? You're going to ask him Mudalali me balanda me mehemai වැඩේ කරන්න පුළුවන්ද බැරිද? You have to be that way, right? So that's where like you can ask the question in Sinhala as well, Sinhala, Tamil, or English or whatever, right? And you can
Okay.
let your applicants also use which language they want to continue it with, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so let's say now, okay, you got this candidate. The candidate answered, okay, great candidate, right? Now you said to me like, okay, when you this goes to the second level, the same question is asked by the CEO. Tell us about yourself. This guy is like kata cat the fellow will
Katakan.
say I'm this and that, okay. So because I have been there, right? So I
I
have attended
know.
in my, yeah, I have attended in my life close to about 35 interviews. Half of
Okay.
was to some to get a job, half was to understand what kind of a market this was. So
Okay.
when I went, so yeah, so basically that's the thing. So now let's say TVP company CEO gets the video from the day one itself. There is transparency in your company. So like the CEO is not going to see this whole new guy who is walking in, right? He can keep the video, he can rate it, he can review it, and he can say, okay, bring him in on this day. There is no need to send CVs or emails back and forth. Are you free at this day, this day, this day? Simply just put it over there, and the HR manager will say, right, great, call this guy. The HR assistant will call and say, come in, and then he can ask questions from the video. Or one step which a lot of our clients do is he says, I want to ask this question, can you send him another request, right? And then the CEO decides, okay, is this guy worth my time? Is this guy that I really want to work with, will take me to the next million or billion rupees, right? So that's what a lot of companies do. Usually it doesn't stop from the first
So
interview, can go
yeah,
second,
so
third as well.
Imtiaz, what you say is, now instead of
Mhm.
asking the about the same information what is already there on the CV. The CV says
Exactly.
that
Mhm.
if it is a sales manager, he has worked already, come his way up as a sales executive, assistant sales manager. Now he is a sales manager, right? So
Yeah.
instead of asking all irrelevant question which is already shown, you can ask
Mhm.
relevant questions that matter
Exactly.
to the
Mhm.
organization as well as to the candidate most. That's what you say. So, for an example, you will say, we will give you 3 minutes. You explain if there is a demotivated sales executive working in Putlam district, how would you, what kind of actions, 3 actions would you take in order to bring his motivation up so that he will achieve his quota next month? Because rest of the data is already in the CV. So, he will go
Exactly.
through the system. He will find this. I haven't used your system. And then there's the
Mhm.
question and the video. I'm supposed to do it. Maybe if it is my laptop, my camera will be on when I say record. I will answer and send it. That's it. Simple as
That's
that.
it. Exactly. Yeah. So even what happens is the we have taken care of the technical specifications also, Amita. So usually now, given the internet scenario right now, it's either slow, it crashes. These all kind of things happen, right? This
Yeah.
conversation sometimes anything can happen. So we have taken care of that also. So usually this when they're uploading, it doesn't take that much of data. We have made sure of that. We compress it, we upload it, it's saved in the server. Also, the companies get their own dedicated dashboard, right?
Oh,
They have their own accounts. They can log in. So we can't even see that, right? Okay, as example, a video comes to you, right? You can't say, Imtiaz, did you see this video? I say, Amita, no, it came under your code, it's your property. So you can even ask any sensitive question you want as well, even like salary. Now, if it's a competing industry, you're hiring someone. The basic problem is candidates are very scared to walk into office or even talk with someone because they are worried. Okay, their HR manager might be getting tipped like this guy is planning to move from them.
yeah.
So
True.
what can you do? Discreetly do it. Even you can ask salaries because we don't see this data. This data is all that company's property. Um, Also, we have like plus let's say as example you got 20 videos, you hired one person, so you have 19 videos left. So on our platform you can save these videos. It's a literally a video database for you, so that next time maybe you don't need to go on to hire. You already done first interviews, just simply have to call them or send them a request, hey, this job is open again, can you just do a new one? I put it up. Yeah, you don't need to go back and put up job adverts or anything like that because you already have a face. And plus, forgot to mention, you can attach your CV as well with your video pitch or any other document,
Okay,
right?
Imtiaz.
So
So
yeah,
we'll take some questions, and then
sure.
I also have you know one question to ask you. My question was, what do you think about the future in terms of uh, AI is going to take over this? But then someone, Pradeep, is asking a more interesting question. He's
Okay.
asking, what is your next step? Are you going to develop an interview bot? So, it's someone similar. What I'm saying is, now this is more or
Hmm.
less human to human interaction. No? Uh,
Yeah, exactly.
so,
Hmm.
I know you haven't studied tech, but we want to ask you this question, just like Pradeep is asking.
Sure.
Is AI going to take over interviews, human interviews? I know it's
Um, I think Amit, HR is predominantly a people-oriented business, right? I don't see at any time going to the future. Maybe when I'm dead, or maybe my grandchildren will have to go to it. But I feel like no, AI is not going to replace. And then, by the way, like people are saying like AI, like everyone is just getting scared. So basically, what will happen is going forward, not like a HRIS or not like a processing system or not like a ERP. AI will be like a component where, okay, right, as example, Amita, you're hiring, you have candidate A and candidate B, you don't know who to hire. A machine will help you to put these facts out and say what are his pros, what are his cons.
Yeah.
Simply that will only happen. It won't say, hey, like, candidate A is the person, he will give you 1 million rupees in the next 1 month if you hire him. Nothing like that. I don't see anything happening like that. What will simply happen is HR managers everywhere will have to work with technology hand in hand. Now, as example, I think so the question we actually posted is interview bot.
Yeah.
The best one that can be said over there is a chatbot, right?
Yes.
You don't. So I have, we are working with a chatbot company to make sure this is something that we are going to try out next month, is where you don't need to put a number, please call us if you have any inquiries. It will be a chatbot which will answer you
Yeah.
and take you all the inquiries. So that is something that you're making sure, like, on a Sunday this guy is nicely chilling at home, he's not getting calls, sir padiye ki hai the experience coach. You don't need to answer that anymore. So
Yeah.
hand in hand, HR and tech will definitely have to go. And I think HR managers, hiring managers, talent acquisition, talent, all of these people, engagement, people management, everyone will have to use tech hand in hand. I don't see that it's getting replaced. Like, you are not going to be in the future where you're going to talk with a bot. That's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Or like with the AI, this one that is only in Terminator and Robocop and those kind of things. I don't think it will happen right now. Even if it
Yeah.
happens, some countries will restrict it definitely.
Yeah. Okay. So India's it's 9:12. I
Yeah.
think there are a lot of questions, so I think we would be able to go up to 9:30. So this show is supposed to be ended between 45 minutes and 1 hour.
Okay.
And since there are a lot of questions, uh, okay, Rachel, she says Six Video platform is excellent. It was a great experience using it.
Okay. Thanks, Rachel.
One of
Rachel was one of our first client users uh, from this company, that the first company that we signed up.
okay.
Rachel, thanks so much for keeping all of our technical defaults. She's still a very good supporter.
Okay. So, Suraj's questions, I have a little doubt. According to your experience, which age category is more active on your platform? So, probably he's asking whether
Mhm.
traditional companies are more likely to recruit or rather take your system, or whether it is more or less tech companies or very young companies who are taking it. That's what I feel. Or I don't know whether he's asking about whether maybe young people are more easy to do video interviews or anything like that. I mean, you can answer both, maybe not taking too much of time. Maybe there will be few questions that may come up.
Mhm. So I think straightforward question for that is, Amita, is that any person that you're hiring, you need to know whether this person can communicate, right? And
Yeah.
now after the pandemic, it is even more important because every meeting is a video call. If you say, sir, man, and everything, you're hiring the wrong guy, right? So any age category, you can use it. Like this certain company that we work with right now, they have made it mandatory. Some of the majority of the companies that we work has made it mandatory. And they told me it's just a good call that we made it mandatory, because video calls means you have to have communication. You're attending 10, 20 calls. The moment you stammer in front of their client will think like, how the hell am I going to communicate with this guy to work and going forward with? So
True.
it's now, before the pandemic, we had that issue of which age where, but now after the pandemic, every age, like if you're looking for a security guard, even now, make sure that guy can communicate and open the gate, close the gate, that it's going to the
Yeah.
level like that. So any age.
Yeah, because the pandemic is all about life and death now. So
Exactly.
you say no to videos and say I want to come
Mhm.
and see you. You don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, what's going to be the outcome. So I think Mafas is also is talking about the same thing. Would this be used for hiring for senior management positions? Why not? Imtiaz, isn't it?
Yeah, why not? That comes back to my previous answer, where if you're hiring in a competitive field, especially senior managers in a banking or insurance company, you're hiring one of your biggest competitors guys, right? You don't want the story to go out, this guy's getting headhunted. So better option is do it secretively, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And recently we completed hires for VPs as well. So the vice presidents and everything. So it doesn't matter the position anymore right now.
Yeah, so Imtiaz, I think I have one of your 1 minute video which
Yeah,
showcase how this thing is done. Let me see whether I could play it for everybody.
yeah, that'll be
This
good.
is Claire. She is a HR manager. It's her job to hire the perfect employees efficiently and quickly. Like all HR managers, she takes pride in recruiting the best candidates that do the job and fit the company's culture. And that's why she has signed up her company to Sixer Video. Sixer Video allows Claire to get fast first impression of candidates, enabling her to make better hiring decisions. All she has to do is register with Sixer Video and get a unique campaign code, which she promotes to potential candidates who can use the Sixer Video app to send a video pitch. This is Frank. He is interested in the job Claire just promoted. Frank downloads the app onto his mobile and enters the unique campaign code. He then sees details of the job and responds to the questions posed by Claire through his video pitch. The process is simple and super convenient. Frank submits the video through the app, and then Claire gets a notification and can review the submission through her dashboard. Claire is impressed by Frank and shares the video with the team for feedback. They can rate candidates and provide feedback. Sixer Video helps Claire find the right people who will turn into awesome employees, making her an awesome HR manager. Sixer Video, for fast first impressions.
Oh, that looks awesome. Thank you very much for sending that video. You said if it is required, you just play it. I think that makes so simple. So I have one more question. Now,
Sure.
I know pandemic has changed a lot. Do you see a lot of companies inquiring you and talking about? I know there are maybe lesser jobs than earlier, but then eventually things have to come back to normalcy, new normal.
Mhm.
Uh, so let's say we control the virus in some way or whatever. What would be the future of these kind of hiring? Interview, video-based, tech-based hiring. Your prediction?
So we do acknowledge, Amita, that companies have taken steps. They are using Zoom, they are using Microsoft Teams, they are using different other platforms to have that live conversation, right? So you don't need to now travel 20, 10 kilometers, even if there is no lockdown or curfews or those kind of things. Now you don't need to go to office, right? So even like these meetings that we attend has completely gone online, right? Which is good. Like
Yeah.
we are saving so much of money in terms of the petty cash. So what happens is like gruesomely what is happening is there is going to be something called the Zoom fatigue, right?
Yeah.
Which I think you would have probably read as well. So Zoom fatigue is like you're attending multiple video calls, you're attending 10, 20, 30 video calls, and you had it, you don't want to do it. It's draining you mentally, right? Now for hiring managers this is even more worse, because that
Yeah.
person is trying to attend 10 video calls, and then another 10 video calls on these stand-ups meetings and with the CEO, what happened, what is going on, and all of those things. So companies are using that technology, but companies have not yet seen the negative aspects of it, right? I'm not going to say that these live interviews are going to stop. It's just that there should be a better way of managing it going forward. So that is will be the next issue that we are going to face. We're going to have hiring managers who are going to do the same um, issues that they went through during that CV. You're reading two, three CVs, and the third CV you're not reading it properly because you just saw those two CVs bad. You're going to take a decision on the third as I'm not going to look at it. So that is going to repeat, but in a different, right? In a video option. So
So I
yeah.
have to remind the audience here. What you are
Mhm.
saying is your platform is not a replacement of a physical face-to-face interview. It
No,
actually could do more. It hits
exactly.
the right button, right question. I mean, if you want to
Exactly.
clarify that.
Yeah, so like the video call scenario, right? You are attending 10 video calls. You don't know who are you talking to, what are you talking to, and then you had it, and 11th call you're just keeping it up. Rather than doing that, you send 10 people the video, the our pre-recorded option, ask the question that you want to ask, and then select the top 2 or 5 people you want to have actually have a conversation. And it doesn't have to be yourself, right? So you share
Yeah,
that pre-recorded video with your team, and you can tell the team members to also come and want to join in this live call. One live call, you just hire him out, right?
yeah,
So basically, when we something like this, we did a case study recently. Usually, it
yeah.
took 14 days for that company to hire,
Okay,
and after using it was only 5 days. They completed everything by 5 days. On the sixth day, the guy is coming to work, making the
okay.
process much more faster.
Yeah. So one more question. Now, what about the
Sure.
security aspect of it? People are talking about hacking
Mhm.
to uh, my video about me talking about what I would do based on the question is I'm going to press the button and now it's on your system. Me as a
Yeah.
candidate also, at this moment, whoever is watching, working on, IT department will go on compliance, hey, look,
Mhm.
security, if it is a bank and etc., etc. How would you, what kind of assurance that you could give that my data is with you? I know that you told me that even you can't watch it, but then
Mhm.
can any third party give you an assurance?
So this is how it works, right? We follow privacy policies very strictly, right? So if you go on our site, our privacy policies, there even before, like as a candidate, if you're uploading, there is an acceptance page. You have to accept. You always prompt them to read the privacy policy and accept. And also, what we do is we associate with the PwC cybersecurity wing, and biannually we do security reports, which we hand over to our clients, right? So it's not us who does it, right? So just to be clear on that, they share it directly with the client. It's PwC and them who talks it, right? So PwC has been very strict for us. They would say like, okay, this guy is not good. They'll tell it to their face and say this guy is not good.
Yeah,
So we have that. So biannually we do these reports. We always hand over, even if certain that companies they don't request, we forcefully tell them we have done this, here it is,
yeah,
right? And
yeah,
also the option for candidates, like we will notify you when this, you can send an email and say please notify me when this campaign is over. If the candidates request, we write to the clients and we say, hey, like this person has requested, you have to delete this video, right?
yeah,
So that also can be done. So we give the power to the candidate, at the same time safeguarding privacy policies as well. And plus our servers, we work with AWS. We handle it under something called IAM, Identity Access Managers. So in
okay,
those, we lock everything, right? So
okay.
data is handled by the company, but we safeguard it, and we have independent parties to make sure that we do really do that.
Okay. So I was actually talking to you earlier, and then I asked how would someone check this system? Maybe if there are hiring managers, maybe they would want to probably have some video calls or video interviews based on the system with few of potential clients, or maybe test it within your own organization before you use it. So Imtiaz, this is to the audience. Imtiaz had been very generous. He offered us a trial free of charge, a trial service for anyone who want to test the system. So that so let me see whether I could post the link here. Uh, Let me
I
see. I
think
think
shall I just
yeah.
post it up on the comment section?
Yeah. Why don't you do it? I mean, my one actually went to the YouTube one. So if you could post it on probably LinkedIn.
Yeah, I think I posted on LinkedIn.
Yeah, great. So what you could do is whoever is watching this program, if you are planning to hire anyone, why don't you use this system to hire somebody? It's unlimited number of videos per job in this offer, right? Let's say you will have to probably interview 10, 15 people to recruit one person, and then you will have to have 3 interviews with each one. So three small video clips per person into 10, 12 until you hire that person. Why don't you use the system and see how best you could experience? So Imtiaz, thank you very much for being generous about giving this link, rather offer completely free of charge to our viewers. Yeah, that's a great thing, so that they can actually test it without having the burden of purchasing it or subscribing it to the system. Let them try it. So I have one or two questions. Okay, I think there's another question. Uh, okay, uh, I don't know how to answer this. You answer this. How this used when hiring a network or a technical engineer, and how would this measure his or her technical skill? Would you want to give an example, maybe?
Yeah,
Imtiaz?
so this is something that we work with some of the IT companies. Is that, let's say, a Q? In this case, I'll just use an example of a QA analyst, right? So they basically ask about the tell us about yourself, all of that. But the second stage of is they provide a code and they deliberately put three mistakes in it, and they ask, okay, this is the code. They display it. You can display it on the app and the web, and they ask, okay, can you let us know the three mistakes in this, and can you let us know the three ways how we can fix this, and you only
Okay,
have 2 minutes to answer that, right? So you
okay,
test your technical knowledge and you test your basic knowledge, right?
yeah,
And another thing that they do for software engineers, specifically for software engineers, is they ask this question, like, okay, this is the case scenario, this is the website we have to make, what's the language you will use, what's the framework that we will use, and then finally they provide a bit of a trick question. They say the client has requested this, what is your solution for this? So
okay,
thinking is checked over there and seen, okay, what are the languages this person knows as well.
okay. Thank you. That answers, I think. So it's up to the hiring manager or that department to
Exactly.
come out with very innovative questions, so that you can take the best out of the candidate. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. So one more question. Uh, Give me a second.
Sure.
So, your future plans about with this pandemic, as well as now there are other expansions like going into other countries, right? So, what are your plans with regard to this solution and the future?
So currently, what we are doing is we are just making sure that every one of the companies know what the product is, what it does. That's what we're doing, and we are constantly, each and every month, we are upgrading our current features. Now, one thing that we recently upgraded was the analytics part, right? And
Okay.
now we have a new feature where you don't need to write the question. You can put a video on the app itself and say, "Hey, put yourself your face like this and ask the question," right? So constantly we are making changes and upgrading our systems and everything. So if you are going one step further, what we are doing is we are branching out right now, not only sticking to hiring. We are looking at sales, we are looking at internal communications, corporate communication. So we are looking at different branches as well, but the main product focus right now is on hiring. And if you say the markets that we are looking at is currently basically any country that has a lockdown running out right now, right?
Yeah.
So Australia is a key member that we are looking at right now, because my co-founder Sam is based in Australia, so they have a use case. We are looking there. And our other thing that we are doing is we are partnering with talent agencies, both here
Sure.
and outside of Sri Lanka. Because right now, if you're hiring for waiters or receptions or whoever it is, right, you can't send them physically abroad now to do interviews, or their
Yes.
representatives can't fly down, right?
Yes.
So there is a genuine problem going on among talent agencies as well. So we are looking at that stage. From a tech perspective, what we are doing is, as I said, we are working on some new features that will help HR managers to go hand in hand with technology to help them to recruit better. So
Yeah.
down the line, basically, our goal is that if your company has 1,000 plus employees, right, and you're hiring 800 every year, We want to make sure that only two people is enough on the hiring team. Others, all the
Wow.
issues of interview will be completely done by us.
Okay.
We will have the necessary support. We will have the necessary tech infrastructure. You don't need to hire. So some companies like hire multiple people just to hire for about just to hire about 2 3 months. That is not needed. And there are companies who are doing internships in a grand scale. Internships, management trainings in a very grand scale. Even smaller companies, they are hiring 50, 60 people just to work in a company to do a big project. So what we want to say is there's no need for necessary individuals to hire. The HR manager individually can hire with the help of our team and with the help of our technology. So basically, that's where we are headed right now.
Okay, so you're talking about adding a lot of value. So you are cutting non-value adding items from the entire process, be it human, be it
Exactly.
documents, be it anything. Yeah. So I
Yeah.
have this. So we are very much at the finishing line, but then I have this story time. So where we add a story or few points to enhance the lives of our audience. So let me go to that. Maybe you'll have to bear with me for a few seconds,
Sure,
Imtiaz.
that's fine.
Give me a
That's fine.
second. Yeah. Yeah. So the story time. I had a discussion recently with someone whom I have mentored, and I told that person, okay, you are going to use LinkedIn in a very active way. And then after a few months, we had a discussion again because he sent me a message. Amita, can you tell me the right time to post something on LinkedIn? We all talk about beating the algorithm by trying to do different things, and then I told that person, okay, let me see what you have posted. So I went to the person's profile, and then I only saw maybe around 8 or 10 posts for last 3 years. So even after me mentoring, the person had not been able to create anything solid. So I said, you haven't probably you have created one post per month for last 3 months, and you are now asking me what is the best time to post. I said, come on, first start creating content, document what you do, and be consistent. At least twice a week you come post, and then you can try to look at maybe beating the algorithm. You don't post anything, and you are now thinking about beating the algorithm. So that's my story today. That's a personal story that I had with someone whom I mentored. My advice: if you are on LinkedIn, please start creating value, start posting, and then naturally you will get business leads, you will get attention, like now Imtiaz and me are having this discussion. It all would have happened maybe because we have networked somewhere in the past, and then here this discussion is happening right now. So Imtiaz, I would like to say thank you very much for coming and enlightening the audience about this tech and what your solution could do, especially during this pandemic time. This is a great service that you are doing. Apart from you are also an entrepreneur helping everybody. Any last word that you want to tell hiring managers and HR fraternity who are watching us today?
Um, well, as a sign off, what I would say is that hire smart. That's all.
Hire smart. Yeah, that will have a very deep meaning. And whoever couldn't watch this, please share this video with your friends, colleagues who are in HR, who are in recruitment. It could be entrepreneurs who are hiring themselves, or it could be a large organization where there is a hiring department. So, Imtiaz, thank you very much for coming, sharing
Thank
your
you for
knowledge
having
with us. Also, sharing that particular link where candidates, or rather HR department, or anyone who want to hire completely free of charge using your system, you can hire few candidates using unlimited number of videos to hire few positions. So thank you very much for that as well, and I
Sure.
hope the country would be back in normal with lockdowns going off. And to everybody, stay safe.
Yeah. Stay safe. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Amit.
Thank you. Okay, see you next week.